Good evening, Super League fans. Good of you to join us. Chairman here from Super League Towers, and special guest this evening on a very good sounding connection is all the way from Edinburgh, where they've apparently have upgraded their their IT infrastructure. It's Ian Campbell, the Midlothian manager. Evening, Ian.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Martin.
It seems that you've overcome the technical issues.
It does. I'll probably cut out shortly, but it's so far so good.
So far, so good. Well, thanks very much for joining. It's always nice to get some of the people on. I can't remember who we've not. Is there anyone we haven't spoken to in the league yet? I'm not entirely sure. Well, either way, that's a discussion for another day. Let's have a look at the results from last week. Let's just start off by reminding ourselves what happened. We can start with your own game. 2-0 home win against the Sloths, back on the score sheet, and what was the other one? An own goal from Van Bronckhorst. What do you make of that? 2 early goals and then a kind of a quiet game after that.
It was. But once we got the second, I was a bit more comfortable. What would it be? But I think we had like 19 shots on goal or something, was it? We were pretty dominant, but 2-0 high. It's quite dominant, but it's never a comfortable scoreline too, is it? But it looks pretty convincing, and just glad to get the win and shut Rob up, to be honest with you.
And the referee, it was pointed out that the name of the referee was a little bit of a giveaway for how the how the game was going to end up with Boyd McGregor being in charge of this one. So a little bit of a home advantage there, maybe.
I think he's Australian, mate. I think he's maybe just got Scottish relatives or something. I've never met the guy before.
I could be. And with regards to your team, I mean, positive to see back. He's still your captain. He seems to be you're settled on back. He's gonna play. He's gonna be captain, leader of the club. Is that the theory?
I think so. His influence is 20. It was going to be him or Vieri, but he's doing the business, isn't he? His influence is 20. I've put faith in him. He's not been that great, but I mean, look at his stats. He's decent. Mm-hmm. Influence 20. I'm going to run with him.
A fluent English speaker as well now, so no chance of him doing this kind of finding it hard to adjust to the lifestyle or whatever it is.
He's settled and fine. You think he was fed and probably his accent now, mate.
Aye, well. Well, I'm sure as we do in Glasgow, I'm sure as in Edinburgh, you have a nice little Polish community as well for him to settle into if he needs anything for the shops or anything like that he's used to from back home. Or you could just pop to Tesco where they've got a whole Polish section anyway. Either way, apart from that, some interesting results as well. Last week we had who should we pick out? We'll go through them sort of quickly from the top. So Arsenal Celtic, that's a little bit of a surprise, I think, for Arsenal beating Churchtown 3-1 at home. That was quite convincing in the end. Oliver Kahn not having one of his best days either.
It was. I expected it to be closer, to be honest with you. Churchtown normally a good away side, but Arsenal have started pretty well. 10 men as well, so impressive.
A good result for them, and Tomadera starting to shine. That's four games with 3 goals and 3 assists. That's a pretty good return.
Yeah, Hodgie's just gone for it this season, isn't he? He'll probably not mind me saying he was pretty poor last season, so I think he's just gone for it. He's just trying to score more goals, and it's working so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly been a strong performance from him. A little bit, I think that Kieran will be disappointed, but as we spoke about previously before the show, he's changed his tactics up a little bit tonight, so we'll see what he gets out of that one. And then we had Aster against the Swindon Devils, so the super narrow formation of Alf that he started with last season. He's sticking with that. Some good news and some bad news for Swindon Devils. I mean, in terms of how the game was, it was kind of, I mean, 5 and 6 shots on target. There's not a huge difference in it. Again, action zones, it was fairly even possession. Everything was kind of fairly even, apart from the fact that he got caught offside about 900 times. But yeah, overall, a fair result, or Swindon a little bit unlucky to go down by 3.
Swindon have been decent, but I think Aster, since I was went back to the narrow, it's always going to be a tough place to go, Aster. So I think probably deserved, but Swindon, they've been impressive. I've been impressed with them so far.
And
points to take for Friday.
Yeah, and definitely some half decent scores as well for a lot of the players. Decent averages. Ashley Cole doing well. Felipe and Saki. So we'll see what Swindon comes up with tonight. Then we had BTEC. So BTEC pre-season of season one, pre-season favorites. Season two maybe less so, but still spoken about as potential, definitely potential playoff candidates. And they beat Bolton. I mean, helped by Buffon obviously, but they beat Bolton 2-1 at home in a bit of a, I think we can say, I mean, a champing is a strong word, but 2 shots and 2 goals is it's a good performance from them. But Ryan not really off to the best start, sixth in the league so far.
They've no, but if you remember last season, Bolton started pretty similarly, if no worse. So I wouldn't write them off just yet, but BTEC, I've been really impressed with them.
Yeah,
I think Ian keeps writing their chances down, but I think he's quietly confident. Just seeing his video on the blog there, I think he's quietly confident this season.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the problems were perhaps, and that was spoken about in some of the previous weeks as well, that his squad was really strong, but perhaps the strikers were just falling a little bit short of the top level, and then both of them go out and score against Bolton. So he'll obviously take a lot of confidence from that going into tonight's game. I think he's away at Ardsley, isn't he? So that could be an interesting one. We had the Dragons as well. Dragons continue their poor run of form. I mean, first of all, let's just have a quick look at a quick chat about Hooligans' performance, because you were involved in a very exciting game with Hooligans a couple of weeks ago. How did you experience that?
I think my laptop just about got launched at the window. To be honest with you, mate, that was. I thought we should have had it wrapped up, but we kind of collapsed and. Aye, but that's a really strong performance by Hools there. It really is. They're going to be definitely tickling the top six for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get the player, the squad is strong. I mean, I will have to do a very quick update on the Hooligans squad before we start the game, because that is one of the things that that I realized that I've missed out. But I'll do that before we get to it. But then if we look on the other side of the pitch, we had Dragons who, yeah, that's it. What's your take on the Dragons situation? I mean, that's 4 goals in 4 games, and how many goals conceded? 16. Yeah, they've conceded 4 goals in each of their games, I think.
Far too many. It's been a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. Again, I wouldn't write them off just yet, but I was thinking about earlier. If they didn't win tonight, that's going to be like 15 points on, say, up the top end of the table anyway. I think it's going to be impossible for them, even at this stage, to finish top two if they didn't pick up anything tonight. And you can't see the likes of Vallen and Bolton dropping that many points, but they can still win it if they finish sixth, if you know what I mean. So it's
yeah.
The season's over, but they need to start picking up points.
Yeah, they need to start not conceding 4 goals a game, maybe for a start. Then picking up points will probably come quite easy to them if they can stop that. But we'll see. Jamie's come up with or Jamie and Boise have come up with a different looking tactic for tonight, and a couple of changes on the bench. So yeah, let's see what they come up with, and how they will perform on the night. We already spoke about your game, Panathinaikos home against Hoddesdon Hornets. So yeah, Chris Mack's done a pretty decent job of being Panathinaikos manager, a new boy in the league. Plays a little bit of a different looking tactic, similar to something Sloths have maybe played, but not one of the standard formations. But he's definitely getting a tune out of Parma's old squad, isn't he?
He's had a great start, I have to say. It's not. I wouldn't say it's one of the better squads, but what he's done so far has been mightily impressive. Because Hods or no mugs, I know Craig was saying nobody rates their squad, but I do rate their squad, and I know he knows what he's doing as well. So that was an impressive win for Parma.
I saw you chatting about Davis earlier, but yeah, he's got a decent squad. We'll see how he lines up tonight. I think he's got Batistuta back on, but it'll be interesting to see how they go. But it's been a little bit hit and miss from Hoddesdon so far this season, obviously. And last up, we had Vallen United against the Chudley Cannons, and yeah, that was I think Chudley came back into it in the second half, but I think after the first half, this was signed, sealed, and delivered straight into the Swedish mailbox. I mean, that was for sure, wasn't it? With Saviola and Shevchenko in that kind of form.
It was. I think Scott tried to go with a different tactic, shall we say, and it clearly just didn't work. They do seem to be a strong second half team.
Mm.
What would concern me is that Vallen or we play the same formation as Vallen, whatever we want. And I think for tonight's game, you've got to see Scott's mixed it up a bit. So he's certainly learning for this. I think he's definitely learned for this, but Vallen are looking pretty imperious.
Yeah, they were a strong performance for them, and they obviously sit at the top of the table. So if we have a quick look at the table as well, so we've got I think. If you asked if there were still two unbeaten sides, there is indeed. There is BTEC and Vallen. So Vallen are back where they finished last season, top of the table, unbeaten. And as mentioned, they play Dragons tonight at home, so they could still be there. I mean, you've got to say they've got to be favourites first versus 14th at home. Anything else that kind of stands out to you? I know that you obviously had those two tricky. I mean, was it Bolton and Vallen United you had away in the first two games, and didn't pick up many points there?
Oh, but was it at home? We
Or
lost.
was it home? It was home. That's right. It was home. You had them at home. That's true. It was Churchtown. It wasn't Bolton. Yeah. But after that, I mean, the last two games have gone okay. Yeah, that's 6 points on your account. So that's kind of decent, I guess.
You look how tight the table is. As I say, it's still early, but you look down to like Chudley and Sloths and Dragons. As I say, they didn't want to be getting cut off this early. You know what I mean? So
True.
you really want to be picking up. I think anywhere for like sort of even maybe 11th, even Chudley to an extent. If Chudley can win tonight, they're right back in it. You know what I mean? So it's still early, but as I say, you didn't want to be getting cut off this early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it last year, and we kind of mentioned that it didn't really make, it's still early days. It's still, there's 24 games left of the season, or 20, whatever, two or whatever we've got left. But the teams that got off to a pretty poor start, they kind of finished pretty poorly as well. So it is a bit of an indication of how the season's going to go. But we'll see how that changes tonight. So that was kind of a quick review of the last week's action. What I will say before we also hear the fixtures for tonight, obviously I think we're gonna start from the bottom today, just because we can. Why not? Just before we kick off with that, let's just congratulate. Well, before we get to his game, which might not go so well, so let's congratulate Jamie first. In case you didn't know,
Yes.
Jamie decided to run himself to death, more or less. I don't know why. Well, I do know because it's in a very good for a very good cause. It's for a very good charity. But Jamie did 2 marathons over the weekend, as you do. So well done, Jamie, for that. And Jamie's asked me to pass on the thanks to everyone who's been kind enough to donate to the charity, especially after digging into pockets for Boise's excellent 24-hour session. And yeah, but it's I was gonna say it's the time of goodwill, but that's Christmas, isn't it? But definitely nice to see that people are getting together around things this time of the year. So a big thanks for Jamie for all the donations and for all the kind words. Not sure why he did 2 marathons. I don't know.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, it's one of the things. And second, yeah, well done to Palmer if he's around, or to Flo if they're around for finishing the race, version 1, and to everyone who took part. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I have rather stupidly agreed to facilitate season 2 of it. So I like spreading myself thin and losing my mind over crap like that. So this will go fantastically well. So apologies for any mood swings that are surely forthcoming. So that'll be interesting as well. So if any of you have time on your hands or anything like that, then do feel free to start up a Scarborough save and follow the instructions. Ian, you mentioned that you might be taking part in that as well.
I think I'm going to give it a go. I was going to start the Hereford one, but I was a bit late to the party, so I'm definitely going to give this one a go. Definitely.
And we'll keep it to 15 games per day, so it won't be like a huge time consuming thing.
Mm.
Not that because I think then it can be a little bit it'll put people off, yeah, to keep up, etc., etc. Not enough blah 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 about things that aren't Super League related, but I just thought I'd squeeze in a couple of public service announcements before we kick off the action. What I will do is that I will see if I can remember how to do this. So if we pick Vallen first. And again, it's been a bit of a busy week, guys. So I do apologize if I have missed anything out. I will try in the background. I'm gonna try and multitask here, so this might go terribly wrong. But I will try and multitask and just see if I have actually ticked off all of your squads as being completed. No, I haven't. Okay, that's cool. So it's just hooligans, but we'll fix that when we get to it. First up tonight, we've got Vallen United, league leaders at home to the current bottom team, Dragons. If we have a look at the Vallen's formation, Roy Keane is having a little bit of a holiday. I mean, I know they're playing bottom of the league, but is that a surprise to you that he's resting Roy Keane?
Just resting Keane, is it? That's bold. If there was any game that he was going to do it, and I think this would be the one. if it pays off, it's great. If it doesn't, then questions are surely going to be asked. But I think if you're looking at who he's got there, I would say they're still strong enough to win the match.
I mean, they've obviously he's trying Totti now. He said that he wasn't going to do this, so this is what I suggested when people were speculating what he was going to do with Del Piero and all that, and why he sold. What's the name of the chap that went to Aster? Rui Costa, wasn't it? That went to Aster. And I said that he might play Totti at central midfield, but he said that he wasn't, and now he is. So we'll see how that works out for him tonight. If we look at Dragons, this is a new look Dragons, a bit of a different formation here. We've got Keane back, we've got Brosek. What do you make of this formation from Dragons?
I like it. I didn't even know they had Michael Owen. I've got to confess, I didn't know they had him.
Yeah, last minute deal, I think, with
Touchdown.
With Kieran, yeah.
I didn't mind it. I would probably be tempted to put a couple of arrows on the AMCs, but that's maybe just nitpicking. But I think I don't know. Has that been 4 different formations in their different matches? Has it been a different formation each match? Or?
I think they've been kind of similar. I mean, either the same or very similar to the first ones, but he's definitely swapped around a bunch of the players. But now this is more like so this is basically pretty much last year's setup, apart from maybe I think he went with 2 strikers and 1 AMC mostly. And he had 3 across, etc. But anyway, the personnel is the same. Was kind of my point. Apart from right side, where he had like Giovanni and Van der Meijden and people like that on the right fullback, and obviously Brosek's come in instead of one of the 2 strikers. So now he's with 2 AMCs. So yeah, could be an interesting one. Kieran is having a laugh in the comments about Michael Owen. What do you think about Michael Owen, Ian?
He's not for me. I would probably go with Shearer, but I think they've been getting. Is Shearer playing?
No, he's not even on the bench. Viduka's on the bench.
I'd probably go. Viduka's done nothing, so I think they've got to try things, haven't they? Credit for trying things, but
yeah,
the jury's out on Owen. The jury's out for about Owen for me, to be honest with
you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's had the best of.
I mean, I don't know if he's Super League.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what he comes up with tonight. Anyway, predictions are coming in thick and fast. Alf Bridge says 2-1 shock result away win. Swindon says Dragons won't concede 4 tonight. It'll be 3-1. So where do you stand on this one, Ian? What do you reckon? Home win or do you think the Dragons can get a result here?
I think I'm going to agree with Fife. 3-1 to Vallen. Sounds about right.
Yeah,
I can't see Dragons win. It'd be a huge upset.
Kieran says 2-0. Ryan says 2-0. Andreas 2-0. Okay, yeah. Even game is not. Vallen is not a high-scoring team. He says after winning, was it 4-1 last week? But there we go. 4-1 against second bottom. So let's see, but how it goes against the bottom side. But we'll kick this one off and see how Vallen will do tonight against Dragons. Obviously, Shevchenko getting an early goal there. That's gonna help settle the nerves a little bit for Vallen.
I can't remember seeing Shevchenko's name. There we go.
Now you can see him again if you're in doubt. You can see him again. It's not a problem. We can arrange that for you, Ian.
Has he scored many? I can't ever remember seeing his name. How many has he scored? Interest.
Yeah, I mean that's his 6th of the season, his 5th and his 6th of the season. So a decent start for him. He didn't have the best of. I mean, he only scored 11 in 28 last season. So I think season 1 wasn't the best for him. But it looks as if he's decided that he's gonna up his game this season. I mean, this is. It's a Vallen performance, isn't it? It's nice and quiet, very effective, going about their business, getting the goals when it matters. Not even winning that many headers or tackles, but get the ball up to Shevchenko, and that solves your problems, doesn't it?
It's been impressive, isn't it? Just as you say, methodical, workmanlike. Nakata, I don't know how he's getting a tune at him. Must have tried to flog him to everybody in the league, but he's getting a tune at him. 47.
Yeah, sevens across the board here. Totti obviously not tackling particularly well as you'd expect, but he's actually getting an assist, so that's kind of decent. If we're looking at Dragons' performances, that's probably not what they'd been hoping for. But it's a super difficult away game, isn't it?
It is, but if your keeper's getting a 5, you're fighting an uphill battle, aren't you? He's just not doing it. Who else is that on a 5? Is that Rustico?
Yeah, Tomasi as well, Curtis. There's a few on 5s there, so yeah.
He's going to find something quickly. I know it's a hard game, Vallen, but he really needs to be. It's maybe not the best game to judge him on, but they really need to be picking up points quick still.
Yeah, I mean, stop conceding for a start. But as mentioned, a difficult place to go. Let's kick off the second half and see what if things can be turned around. Obviously, Chudley had a much better second half against Vallen last time out and did manage to pull one goal back right at the end. Oh, that's not going to help them in the long run, is it? Tomasi getting injured. He was already on a yellow, and then I was worried he was going to get sent off, but then he picked up an injury instead.
I think that's it, innit?
Pretty much. I mean, the only thing that they're really kind of not struggling with, but they're not getting a lot out of that AMC position. I mean, maybe he could copy what you've done with Back, because Back obviously did did quite well last week, but he's not really. Totti wasn't getting much out of that position, and it doesn't look as if Del Piero's getting much out of it either. So, I mean.
Still a convincing win, and he's winning. I wouldn't care if I was getting 6s across the board and winning 1-2-0 every game. I really wouldn't give a jot, and I think Andreas will either, to be honest with you. If he's winning, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember a conversation I had with Andreas. I hope he doesn't mind me repeating it when I said that it was all about having fun. And Andreas said, "I know, but winning is the most fun I know how to have." So,
Exactly.
so that looks as if he's doing okay. Nakata only getting a 6, perhaps not much to his liking, but you can't really say fairer than that, can you?
A solid home win. As I say, I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with that. That's what you want to do. Win Shevchenko on the score sheet. Totti, I mean, I'd be delighted, and I'm sure Andreas will be.
An 8 and assist, you know what I mean? You're not going to complain, are you? Clean sheet, top of the table, no doubt about it. So Dragons. I mean, much improved in the second half. I mean, it is a new tactic for them. Maybe it'll take a game or two to settle in. And obviously, settling in a new tactic against Vallen United away from home is probably not the best place to do it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Tomasi being out. They do have Carragher who can play in there as well. I mean, I think Simic at a push you could probably throw in there. I know he's right centre, but he's got pretty good passing and positioning and stuff like that. So they could probably throw him in there as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But unfortunately, Dragons probably remain very near the bottom of the table for tonight after that result. Let's see what we have next coming up. We have it'll be Sloths. Well, we'll see how Sloths get on against Bolton now. Let's have a quick look here. Sloths, I think, are with a new formation as well.
Oh,
looks familiar.
It does.
We'll see.
Rob's been bad mouthing me all day and just pretty much all season. But I'm not going to stoop to his level. I'm not going to stoop. So I like the formation. I like it.
I mean,
What is it they say? Is it they say copying's the best form of flattery? What is it? Something like that.
yeah,
Something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Something about imitation and flattery,
That's
anyway.
that's the one, Martin. That's it.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting, and he's obviously been inspired by the recent performances in the race by young Paiva, and he's starting tonight. I'm not sure why he's not using Donovan. Maybe Donovan's been on the piss with Barrymore or some. Not Barrymore. What was the other one? Hasselhoff. I was thinking the American one he dislikes. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Ndiaye in that DMC role, Burns and Yepes at the back. It's not a bad. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here with it, but maybe that's the quality of players available in that midfield position. But Jorgensen and Ballack, I'm not sure if they're going to pose a huge threat to anything or anyone.
Listen, he's still got Kesman to come back as well. And as I've said in the blog, Crespo and Kesman is a deadly front two. I think he's not scored a goal yet, so he's got to try different things. He's basically got to try, and he's gone for the narrow. I think he's ever went narrow before, so I see in the right thing. He's got to try things, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Just a couple of the comments here. Andreas says, back to Stephen Reid experiments next week. Time to start rotating the squad. Stephen Reid did really well for Andreas last season. I think he played some really good games. The Vallen machine rumbles on. Ian Edwards says, we may be about to watch the Dede show here. So he's on the left side, isn't he? So he doesn't feel like Bakircioglo is going to be much of a match for Dede on that flank. Yepes is on the wrong side. Who says that? Chris Mack. Why is Yepes on the wrong side? I don't think that's... and let me double check if I'm following instructions here or if I am if I've overlooked something. No, I've got Yepes on the right side. You're wrong, Chris. You'll see. If we have a look at the Bolton Phoenix, what did he say? Ryan said that he had a new tactic. I loaded it and it doesn't. Maybe I have very, very poor memory, but it doesn't look new to me. Maybe there are more arrows on the players. Maybe that's
Did they
it.
not have an AMC? Did they not have an AMC? It looks different to me, I must say. Maybe I'm a
I think.
judge.
I'm not sure. Maybe he can enlighten us in the comments what he's actually changed because I
So
can't for the
maybe
life of me remember.
I'm sure it was, one up and it looks that I like it anyway. Look, it's a strong side, isn't it? It's a strong 1-11.
Extra arrow on CM. I was a little bit surprised to see Gary Neville on the bench, to be honest. I'm sure I've done this right. I mean, I do question myself sometimes, obviously, but apart from that, it's a very strong side. And what do you make of Raul's kind of resurgence, or he's kind of come back into the picture here, hasn't he?
Yeah, see, I would normally play Raul AMC, to be honest with you, but that's maybe just a personal preference. But he's a quality player. Look at him; he's world class. When he gets going, he is world class.
Yeah, we'll see tonight. He's certainly come off to a very good start of the season. Seems to have formed a good partnership with Montella. So we'll see tonight. So the predictions are that the wing backs are going to murder Sloths tonight. I'm not entirely sure why, because I remember a wide position last week against a narrow formation. That where the wingbacks didn't really do anything, but who knows? They got good scores, but Swindon didn't win despite Eviede and Cole playing very well against Aster. But maybe he's right. Maybe the wingbacks will be dominating here. 3-1 win to the away side, says Ian. Alf is going with a Sloths 2-1 win. The front five of Bolton is scary good, says Scott. Ryan bored of criticism about being boring. You're missing out on all the good stuff, Ian. I can't relay the excitement to you accurately enough. What do you reckon here? A home win, or do you think Bolton are going to have too much for the Sloths?
Before seeing Sloth's tactic, I would have said Bolton all day long. But Bolton have had, if my memory serves me correctly, they've had a bit of keeper trouble. They've had a bit of their keepers have been pretty shit, to be honest with you.
Isakson is in goal tonight. I mean, that's a firm start for him.
It is, and purely because Rob's been been not very nice to me, I'm going to go for a Bolton win. But I think it's not going to be as one-sided as I thought it was. I'm going to say 2-1 Bolton.
Okay, well, we'll kick it off and we'll see what happens.
As long as Rob scores, he's got to get his first goal.
Yeah, that's we're still waiting for that, obviously. So that would be nice for him. I mean, he does have Crespo. He does have, as we mentioned, Kessman is out, but he does have pretty. Oh, that's not
Oh,
going to help, is
Jesus.
it?
He must have the worst disciplinary record in the league.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I should maybe put.
I would drop a
I'm gonna
midfielder.
put Balak is MLC. He's out there because he doesn't. I mean, risk. He doesn't have anything useful. I think I'm gonna go like this. This is what I would do.
Same.
So we'll see. But yeah, yeah, terrible, terrible discipline at Sloths. They were the worst, the worst team for discipline last season, and it looks as if they're not doing
Funny though,
anything to change that.
he's not out. Here's Bolton now.
Aye.
Oh.
Figo caught offside there. I mean, and it's only with the goalkeeping that Bolton's been displaying. Oh, there's Figo with his first goal of the season.
I want Sloths to get a goal though. I really do.
Yeah, that would be going to be as one-sided as a Barrymore pool party. I mean, well, we'll see. It kind of is.
Oh, jeez, it
Yeah.
didn't seem like.
No, it seemed
Yes.
definitely the first 20 minutes seemed as if Sloss were definitely creating chances, but apparently not. Um, not sure if it's been the Daily Show. He's had one assist, but he is also up against a bit of a depleted Sloss side, so that's maybe part of the reason for it. Montella not scoring, but overall kind of a decent. I mean, there's not really much they can do in the second half. Is that Sloths really? Christian Burns and Ndiaye doing a pretty good job down there.
Pretty poor.
Yeah, but I mean they're up against last season's champions and they're down to 10 men. It's it's never a good look, is it really?
You've
What
got
the
to be,
hmm?
sorry, you've got to be wanting more for Crespo though. He's done practically nothing for Sloths. You need him to be doing better.
He's a key man for them, and he scored in half of the games last season. But as you can see there, he's got 4 games and a six average this season. So I'm not sure what's happening in the Sloths camp, but they're definitely not cooperating or firing on any cylinders really. But we know what Bolton's keeper situation have been like. One shot on goal could be all that's required to change things around. So we'll see if Sloths can come out then and champ them in the second half, or if Bolton are going to continue and see this one home. But it's tricky to see a way back for Sloths. I don't think anyone in the comments are particularly hopeful for that happening. Let's see, Figo back. It was Swindon said that. Martin slowly speaking more Scottish. I can speak Scottish. I can just change my accent up like that if you want it, but I think I can also like kind of talk not normally, but like I would normally would. Anyway, second half. Here we go.
Wait till you hear my Danish.
Aye, that's that's a cracker. That's Sambrata with his. Did he say his second of the season?
I think he was on an.
Oh dear,
Here
oh dear, oh dear.
we go.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit painful
I
one.
think Zambrotta and Deddy brought 8s at half time, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a shame for Rob, isn't it? I mean, the formation was looking good. It looked as if they actually had, I would say, the upper hand in the first 20 minutes. You get the red card, and then that's you done for the rest of the game, really. Let's see what it was all about. Dangerous two-footed challenge on Dede. Yeah, so whoever said that about Dede licking his lips was probably spot on. Ian Edwards. So yeah, well done, Mr. BTEC manager, for spotting that potential thing. Fifey saying Daddy 3 assists. Where'd you get that from, Fifey? No. I mean, I'll be happy to go in and have a look and see. Dedic definitely got an assist for the first one. The second one was Verong, who hit the bar, and Sambrata picked up the loose ball. And the last one was no. Dedic was nowhere near the other 2 goals. Sorry. It's maybe Day. Maybe that's if you'd spotted that. There's maybe something come up about Day. Anyway, Sloss performance. NDI, we knew he was good. Everyone else struggling a little bit. How much is that down to? I mean, Hernan and Crespo getting a 5.
That's what I'm saying. Rob's going to be concerned. It's just not happening, is it? I think he's got to. he played no. I thought he played not too bad against me. I know we had like 19 odd shots on goal or whatever, but he didn't capitulate. But you're never really. He had the early red cards, totally changed it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ryan's going to be delighted with that. It's a great win, great away win.
Yeah, I mean, good for him to pick up 3 points and keep it mixed up. I mean, I think at the start of the season, I think I mentioned and many people mentioned that the top three were going to be difficult to break into with Churchtown, with Bolton and Vallen, and obviously he's not at the best of starts, but it looks as if the few tweaks that he's made again is on a bit of a, I don't want to say a cheap background, but I mean, down to 10 men against a team that haven't scored all season, it is a bit of a cheap background, to be completely honest.
Cheap background.
And Isaacson somehow getting a 7, which is nice considering that he probably didn't have much to do. So yeah, shame for Sloths, but we move on. Would love to know how deep Rob's go. Sorry?
I was just saying, Rob, you're a cheap background.
Yeah, there is that. Fifey says, would love to know how deep Rob goes into instructions, etc. But he's there. You can ask him. That's not for me to disclose, obviously. Let's have a look and see what we've got coming up next. So what have we done? We have done Vallen. We've done Sloths. So next up we have a Hooligans against Aster Athletic. So the battle of the super narrows, and this is where I just have to do a little bit of housekeeping. So bear with me a second here because I need to do a quick swap on the Hooligan side. Instructions: Crosa for West and Sunday for Emerton. There we go. I'm not sure why he's hating on Emerton. I don't know. It says here Sunday for Emerton, so that's what we're gonna go with. Okay, that's the instructions. That should be us ready. And Aster, I think we're pretty similar formation, so that should be fine. I've definitely done that. Right, so we'll have a look at Hooligans formation here. They had a great win last time out, 4-1. Against the Dragons. The super narrow against the super narrow, I don't really remember. Did we have a look at that? What happened last year? How did we do that again? Past meetings. Ooh, so Aster, was that the first game of the season when Saul Campbell got? Yeah. So there was that huge 6-1 the first game of the season, but last season was a tight 1-1 affair, with really high scores for both sides and a few shots on targets. So what will it be for you? Do you think this time Hooligans at home, teams are going to cancel each other out a little bit with the two super narrows?
I think so. We're looking at when we went over to Hools, it was a close game. We went with the narrow, so I'm expecting probably similar. I think it'll be a score draw myself, but it's going to be close anyway.
And I mean,
you know what you're getting with Hools, don't you? He's not going to change his formation, but
no, he isn't, and I don't think Alf has either, to be honest. So he's still keeping. I mean, he can't drop Kennedy now, can he? Because he's probably his top scorer. I mean, you look at the stats and you're thinking, where does he get it from? But 4-3-2. I mean, it's almost as good as who was the chap we looked at in the first? Who had 4 games, 3-3? Either way, I can't remember who that was, but yeah, a good start to the season for Kennedy. If we have a look at the Aster's tactics, I think they are the right ones that we have here, from Alf. Strongest lineup for him. He changed the people at the back. He had Materazzi and Giuliani. I think he played with different ones early on in the season. Is this the strongest lineup for Aster, do you think? Kutuzov up front, is that a long-term solution?
I personally would debate me. I think Nikolai's better than Kutuzov just now anyway, but Nikolai's he's got Super League form, hasn't he? I know Kutuzov was at Chudley and stuff, but I would probably go with Nikolai over Kutuzov. Be interesting to see if Bowyer can reproduce what he did last season. He's not really done anything as yet. To man, it'd be interesting to see if he can kick on. Brugink, he's no somebody assigned, but he scores, doesn't he? He does perform. He's one of them. Kuluzny, I like. Strong side, Scott. That is a strong side.
And Johann Vogel, who he brought in, who Ian could not get a tune out of at the BTEC, he's brought him in. He's got he's got 2 10s and 2 8s in his first 4 games, and he's been an absolute monster for Aster on that left hand side of the defensive midfield there. So a solid signing for Aster. To get Vogel in definitely.
Great defensive midfield line up there. Vogel, Kalusin, and Zanetti. I like that.
Zanetti
And Bowyer in
perhaps
front. That's strong.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's strong. Zanetti, Kalusin, and Vogel. I like that with Bowyer in front.
Yeah, definitely.
I would probably play Rui Costa. I'd play Rui Costa midfield centre myself, but that's just personal preference.
Yeah, but then what you do with, I mean, then you could just Bowyer off to the bench. I think he just had such a good start to last season that Alf decided to keep him in there. He obviously believes in him and believes that he can create something.
You've got if Bowyer's fit, you've got to start him. He's quality in the game. Score draw for me this, Martin.
Score draw for you. I'll see what the viewing public have to say about this. I haven't seen a prediction from Hools 3-0 says Kieran. I haven't seen a prediction from Alf yet, which is I presume he's going to go for an away win. Chris Mack says 4-2 away win. Scott says, oh, there's a few people going for away win here. Scott Sadler 1-2. Ryan is going for a home win. Alf is going to go 2-0 for him. Swindon goes for a home win as well. And you said a score draw, yeah?
I think so, aye.
Yeah, well.
2-2.
Okay, well we'll see. We'll see. It was 1-1 this one last time out, so we'll see how it happens or how it goes this year. We'll kick this one off and see who gets the first goal, who gets the first chances. I'm not sure if Crosa has had that many games for Hooligans after he joined. Oh, that's a yellow for Sol Campbell already. That could be him on his way to a red, like in the first game of last season. That would be a bit of a disaster for Hooligans, I think, if that was to happen. Lots of good chances for both sides here, really.
As you can't write Hools off either, can you? I was 3-0 up at half time again.
And there's Mendieta just before half time. Yeah. Hooligans take the lead just before half time there. So a very, very even first half, I think, in terms of chances. How did you see it in terms of chances and possession, etc.? It seemed even to me.
It did. I thought Aster were going to score, but as I say, you can't really write Hools off. I mean, I thought Aster were going to score, and I thought Hools would equalise, but that's I put the cat amongst the pigeons. That one, I think.
It's gone the other way around here. If you look at the performances, so strong performances. Crosa's the new guy. Has he played? He played one game last season and got an 8, and he's in and with an 8, he even got the assist. So he's obviously doing what he can to get in his manager's good books. And 7's kind of for the rest of them. So a solid start for Hooligans here. Perhaps a little bit concerning that Sol Campbell gets a yellow card, but you never know. Not that many shots from the strikers though. That would be a bit of a concern. Kennedy, Aymar, Salas, and Ronaldinho. Not a single shot between them.
I'm just looking at Kloss getting an 8 because I don't know if Thiago's a huge fan of Chotas. It can be quite erratic. I think he'd be happy that Kloss has got an 8. But listen, if you've got Aymar, Rocky Santa Cruz, Ronaldinho, they're always capable of scoring a goal. So I think Hools are looking quite good in this.
And if you look at Aster, if you look at the average ratings for their side, that's a complete opposite. So he's got his strikers actually, well, he's got Kutuzov and Rui Costa having a couple of shots there anyway, but a very poor performance apart from that, not winning any tackles. I mean, I don't know if they're not what they're actually doing in here. Kalusny not winning a single tackle, that's not a good look for him really. But not a lot of possession as well. I mean, well, a lot of possession, but not a lot of like key passes. Vogel with one key pass, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
As I thought Aster maybe just shaded that. I thought Aster were going to take the lead, but it's pretty poor, you have to say.
Yeah, poor first half.
Aster got an early goal on it, it's back on, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's got to have to be one of them, I think. Early goal for Aster, and then we're back on for the second half. Otherwise, maybe the Hooligans to see it home with a narrow 1-0 or maybe 2-0 win. But
I think so, mate. Aster need to score early, I think.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll kick off the second half, and we'll see if they can get back into it. Bowyer and Vogel are doing their best. Oh, and there's Kutusov. That was the early goal that we spoke about. And let's see what Hooligans have to say in response to that. I see a lot of Vogel's name keep coming up all the time, so he might be on his way to another good performance.
Can't write Hools off though, see? Fuck.
I wasn't. Oh, you can't
right my 2 all.
Oh gosh, they do like to leave it late, these Hooligans guys. Oh, and there's Kennedy.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh my God, and he sees it home. My God, this is kind of like this is the second of these games. I mean, there was the one against you, and now Hooligans are involved in another thriller. Olise, I question why he was playing Olise instead of Emerton, but obviously that's worked out kind of okay for him.
That's a good game. Good game.
Lots of chances created in the second half, and Hooligans actually having the better of the. I think the second half of the second half. I think Hooligans were creating a fair bit more. Sunday Olise comes in and gets man of the match. I wasn't sure. Does he need him instead of Emerton? But apparently he does. Assist for Walter Samuel and Crossas. It would be interesting to see how those goals came about. You think it's corners and then headed down for each other or something like that? Let's see.
This is a good chance.
The first one, Crosas headed the ball down from Mendieta. So that was definitely one of those. And then we have Ricosta to Kutusov. And then let's see what we have. Then it starts to get exciting here. Oh, this is just Olise running from inside his own half, past a bunch of people, and then just firing from distance. That's pretty good from him.
I think Alf's got to be happy with the second half performance, really, because.
And then this is just Salas blasted towards the top corner, Lehmann run. So I don't know where they got that second assist from, but either way, Hooligan's going to be very happy with this performance, I think, and especially the result. Perhaps not so delighted with conceding 2 goals, but yeah. And I mean, Kennedy, as Ian points out in the comments there, Kennedy never gets a 9, but he does the business every week. He gets a 7, and he has 4 goals in 5 games from central midfield. That's not too bad. That's not a bad return, to be honest.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Alf, I think Alf's going to be a bit disappointed there. I think he was unlucky. I thought he was good enough for a point after that second half performance, but as I say, you kind of write Hools off. That's becoming a bit of a theme, innit?
Yeah, definitely. They write them off at your peril. They nearly got the comeback against you, and they definitely got the comeback tonight. So a strong performance there. We'll see how that affects the league table, obviously, but I think that's going to be a good look for the Hools. Why do all keepers get 8s and 9s against Aster? Says Alf. Well, I don't know. Maybe they're just having good days. I don't know. And Lehmann getting a 6. Lehmann has been so super solid for Aster. I mean, 8 average last season, 750 average this season, and then he picks up a 6 kind of randomly. But again, as we said, many chances created, 8 shots on goal, 3 allowed in is not hugely unexpected against such a good side as Hooligans. So yeah, good game, I think. Probably the most exciting game of the evening so far. A little bit too much excitement for some maybe at the last couple of minutes, but it's always welcome. It's always entertaining for the Super League to see that.
For sure.
Fire away.
Sorry, I was just going. I didn't think Alf's got too much to worry about. I think he was unlucky there, so I wouldn't. I think start panicking yet. I think he was unlucky. Great win for Hools though.
Yeah, super strong win for Hools, but as you mentioned, probably a little bit unlucky for Alf to concede that the last minute. It would have been a solid point away from home after a good even match, but then that last minute soccer punch that just kind of kills it a little bit, obviously. Next up, we've got Hoddesdon Hornets against Swindon Devils. So Fifey, you're in action, and Craig, you're in action next. And let's see what Fifey's come up with for this week of new tactical formations. I can't remember it's been a couple of days since I set that one up. Let's take Hornets here. Hornets and Swindon, and hopefully, oh, it's Swindon's away kit.
Oh, oh, nice.
So we start with Hornets formation. I think that's pretty similar. I think the two changes are that he's got Batistuta and Tauntaun playing tonight. Let's see. Yeah. It's Tauntaun and Batistuta. They were the two changes for Hornets. We've not seen much of Tauntaun so far, and he's very young. Too early to throw him in, do you think, or?
Eh, maybe a season too early, but you never know. You look at Kennedy, and Kennedy's stats aren't that great, and he's doing the business. I don't know if he's got many other options, to be honest with you. So I would chuck him in. I seen he's dropped ship to Chicago though, which if I had Batistuta, I'd be playing every game. But again, that's just maybe just personal preference.
Yeah, I think
Look at
there's a lot of 18s and 19s and 20s in there, to be honest, still, despite his age. Yeah.
he's got to play. I know he's not set the hair like, but he's got to play in my opinion. He
Mm.
has to play.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree. A new wing back. I'm not sure if Babayaro's not back yet, but this Felipe chap that he brought in from Vitoria, he's had a pretty good start. So Craig's probably been the most prolific sort of along with yourself, non Super League shopper. I mean, I think he's got Felipe in there. He's got Gudjonsson. He got from outside of the Super League. He's got a keeper on the bench that's from outside of the league as well. He's done a few deals. Petrov is one of them as well. So he's brought in a few faces from outside the league, similar to yourself. Do you think that represents like good value for money, or is there a specific reason you've done it, or has it just not been the players that you wanted available in the Super League?
I think the nature of the Super League, you're not going to get amazing players in every single position. So I think what Craig's done, he's just went for players that he knows can do a job. Like I don't know if I've seen Felipe before, but I think he's more like a solid sort of left back. Gudjonsson, I know is quality. Davis is one of my favourite DMs in the game. Petrov, I don't know if he's MC material, but again, he's a great DMC. So I think he's obviously went for players that he knows can do a job. I like Craig. He knows he's went for players that he knows he can do a job. Aye, and again with Batistuta, you've got to play Batistuta.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Craig's team. Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm. So it's a tricky match for the Devils, and this is how they line up. Pfeiffer, you're gonna have to correct me if I've made any errors here, but it looks familiar. So I think it's right. What do you make of this formation and how he's put the players in?
It looks similar to the Dragons formation, I think, with the wing backs. I don't know if I think Dragons went with one up top though with Owen. I like it. I don't know about Foy DMC. I don't know about him, but apart from that, I like it. It's positive. Away from home, two up front. I'm not going to slag him for anything. You've got the right formation is a winning formation. If he's not going to play any strikers and he gets a result, it was the right choice. So I'm not going to slate anybody for trying different formations or that. If he, you know what I mean, you have to try different formations if it's not working. And thanks, something's improved for last season. So
yeah, he's getting a lot of love in the it's turned into a Swindon love fest. This, I mean, it's crazy. You're praising him. Kieran's saying that's it, Fifey, best one yet. Ian says best Devils lineup of the season. Ryan says genuinely excited to see how you get on. And Chris Mack says those colors though. So they're going to be a complete nightmare. I'm not going to be able to see what the hell's going on here, but we'll see. We'll see. It'll probably be okay. Let's have some recommendations not recommendations, some predictions rather. I was going to say recommendations for Fifey, but he's had enough already. He's obviously found a formation that the public likes. Ian says 2-2. Ryan goes for an away win for Fifey. What do you think, Ian? In with Hornets, Batistuta's back, but Swindon are lining up in a way that seems to please people.
they're kind of similar lineups, I would say. And in my opinion, player for player, Swindon have got the better lineup up front. And that's why I think Swindon could maybe sneak this 2-1.
3-3 says Scott. Those are the predictions so far. Kieran said 2-1 win for the home side. Low scoring game says Fifey. So we'll kick it off and see who's going to be right about this one. If the Devils are onto something with the latest, see if everyone goes, oh Fifey, that's brilliant. Oh yeah, that's the formation we've been waiting for. See if he gets hammered 5-0. Oh dear, dear, dear. Let's hope not. We're all hoping for. I'm rooting for every single team. I hope the team score goals so we get exciting matches. What the results are like, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, well, I just want something to talk about, so we don't sit through like a 0-0 or something like that. Then it becomes a little bit sort of tedious. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
See that one?
I can't see a fucking thing.
Oh, it's in there.
Things are happening for both sides. I'm not entirely sure what's happening for the Devils, but I see Cole. I can occasionally see Cole because it's short, yeah, so it stands out.
I like the Hoddesdon colours though. I like black and yellow.
That's good for black and yellow. So dear. This could be good news for. Oh God, it's not. Well, he's gonna go kind of like narrow, isn't he? That's probably
I would agree with that.
He doesn't have any wing backs too. I mean, I could put Lundberg on and go with one in the center, but then I would have to move some. I think this is better. I think.
I concur.
And Sagnol can play here as well for sure. He's done a good job so far this season. Open door for Fifey to kick in now with Craig down to 10 men and yeah, as Ryan points out in the comments, seen a bit of Seedorf. I mean, I think I agree, but let's have a look and see if we see any more of Seedorf. They still have Batistuta though. Remember that. I mean, there's
coming on.
There's things happening for Inzaghi, for Ronaldo, mostly for Inzaghi, I think. I think that's the name I've seen the most of in terms of missing chances.
Yeah, Interi, another yellow.
Yeah. That's what the. Well, it's not been.
Isn't it? I thought Swindon were coming into it at the end of the first half there.
I thought they had more chances than that. I thought I'd seen Inzaghi finishing a number of times there, but apparently it was only the one. Yellow card for Montero and Ashley Cole as well. It's not boding too well for them. Bit of an average performance. Montero doing well, he's probably one of the best central defenders in the game. I mean, I know he's old, but you can't argue with a couple of handfuls of 20s, can you, for a DC?
Well, we had him and he basically hated, my board hated him, my whole team hated him, so we had to basically let him go. But I think that's for where Fifey was last season, to be going to Hoddesdon, who were top six challengers, and no looking out of place. I think it's got to be positive for Fifey. And he's got a great chance.
It's the fifth game of the season. It's Montero's fourth yellow card. So he's carrying on from last year where he, I mean, it wasn't too bad last year. He only got 9 yellows last year. So I mean, I don't know where that stat is. He's obviously got 20 aggression and 20 bravery and 20 strength. That does confirm that. So yeah, but interesting to see. Interesting to see the second half if Hornets can hold on or if Devils will find a way through once fitness starts to play a part later on in the game.
Have you looked at Hornet stats?
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, I mean, Lawson doing a good job at the back, but it's a bit like.
I would worry. Sorry.
No, on you go.
I was just saying I would worry for Hoddesdon on the ratings, but we know the ratings can be pie in the sky, but I would worry for Hoddesdon now.
Mm-hmm. And Taunton not finding his feet at this level or up against the quality of opposition that he's got tonight. So, but we'll see in the second half if Craig can hold on. So a little bit like the Sloths Bolton game, yeah. We'll see if the home side can hold on or if the away side, who should be in with a better chance, can find a way through. bunch of early chances for Hoddesdon there. That might have been their chance to get out in front. I'm not sure if they're.
It's done.
I mean, they're still doing an okay job. Mm. I hate to jinx it, but I'm not seeing a lot of Swindon in the second half.
No, I'd take a draw now if I was Fife. Oh, no.
Oh!
Oh, take the draw and run. Take the
I
draw
was
and
just
run.
about to say he's not going to get it. My goodness. My goodness. So I think Hoddesdon dominated that. Nothing from Swindon in the second half.
It's Fife. If I was Fife, I'd be happy with that. I think they dodged a bullet there.
Mm.
Disappointing they get up against 10 men, but it never really done much second half, did they?
No,
One
there's
shot on
something.
target.
Yeah, there's something. Montero obviously doing the business,
It'll
but
be interesting to see if Montero, man of the match, gets in the team of the week. Be interesting to see how that develops.
yeah, I mean it's interesting. You could argue that that keeping a clean sheet against the 10-man opponents is not particularly difficult, but yeah, disappointing for obviously for the strikers to have see so little of the ball in especially in that second half when they're a man extra, Ronaldo and Inzaghi. I think Ibieta getting a 6, Ashley Cole getting a 7. There's lots of 6s and 7s apart from really Montero and Mark Vivian Foe. The rest of them are a little bit not really at the races, and very very few touches as well. So perhaps not doing the making the best decisions when they do have the ball. I mean, Zidane doing. I mean, he's got a key pass and he completes a high percentage of passes, but 16 passes from Zidane in the whole game. I mean, yeah. Not for me, but let's have a look at what the Hornets did. You would have perhaps thought that that they would have been the ones with the lower ratings, but they did a great job. I mean, in the end, Sagnol, Gudjonsson, and Davis, they all got 8s across that midfield. Petrov the same. It's probably helped him out as well, don't you think? With that having those 4 defensive players in there, that probably helped him out as well. Do you think?
I think so. I think both managers are going to be reasonably happy with that because I think Craig going down to 10 that early, and well, I thought they were going to be struggling, and they were lucky. Well, they had the disallowed goal and stuff. I think both managers are going to be relatively happy with that, to be honest.
Especially with that last minute goal from Etu. I think was it offside? It was ruled out for.
Definitely. That's again. Look, when you look at Swindon last season, they couldn't buy an away draw. You know what I mean? They were struggling. So he's came on leaps and bounds. So credit to that's a good away point. Take it and run. I say.
Yeah, and away point. I mean, if you're looking at it from that perspective, I mean, home wins and away draws. That's kind of your starting point, isn't it? You know, if you can win your home games and draw your away games, you're laughing. Obviously, you're not gonna maybe do that for all of them, but that's a good starting point, definitely. So yeah, that was Batistuta's contribution, straying offside and having the goal disallowed. So, but apart from that, he probably did a decent job. But an interesting game. I mean, it was a 0-0. I said I didn't want 0-0s, but it was actually an interesting game nonetheless, and always nice to see Montero getting in on the action. Did I say that was his 4th or his 5th? That was only his 4th, yeah. Yeah, it's only his 4th yellow of the season, so he's probably got another week to go before he starts getting suspended. A bit early on, from game 6 or whatever he gets to be suspended already. So yeah, but a good game, very exciting. Next up we have Churchtown against Panathinaikos. So 3rd against 2nd. This could be a cracker as well.
Look forward to this one.
Yeah, and this is the one where let's see where we'll see if Kieran's changing things up a bit, and we've got a debut for because I don't think he played for. Oh, he did come on for Vallen. I was going to say we had a Super League debut for Mike Duff. It's not a Super League debut, but it is a Churchtown debut for Mike Duff. So interesting to see how he gets on. Barry Ferguson obviously in there, Uli Sadibi, the young boy Everton, who didn't have the best of the debuts last week, although he got did he draw a red card from Nikiforenko or whoever it was, but he's not been included because she's gone with two up front this week. So an interesting one. What do you make of Kieran's squad? Was he unlucky to not be in the top two last year, or is that giving him too much credit, do you think?
I think he was. He's got a great squad. He's got a fantastic squad. He was more in a away team last year, if I can remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
This season, I think he beat me. I think he got beat by Arsenal in his last game. He's got a great squad. You can't take that away from him. It's quality, so he's definitely going to be up there. I think he's maybe just, I don't know. If when we played them, I would rather he played Churchtown than Vallen, say. So, and I don't know why that is, but it's just maybe. I don't know. I just felt we were more capable of beating Churchtown. An amazing squad, and they've beat us more times than we beat them. But I don't know. Great squad. Great.
It's a tricky one to obviously rate the individual teams because so many of the players are as good as they are. Talking about good players, there's something missed. Oh no, that's right. Joe Cole's on the bench for Ambrosini. That's right. I was going to say Joe Cole is missing. We already mentioned it a little bit. Chris Mack has done a pretty good job with Panathinaikos so far this season. Any of those players that you'd fancy in your side?
Definitely. If I can recall, I think I did have Udeze. I think he went to Bolton. I like him. Salihamidzic, Riquelme. I'm not a fan of Trezeguet. Has he got Henry?
Yeah, he's got Thierry Henry and Ebisand as well, but he's playing Trezeguet at the moment.
I didn't personally like one up top, but you can't argue with the start he's made. I wouldn't say he's got the best squad in the league, but for what he's there, and I would say he's punching above his weight. So credit where credit's due. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Fifey points out as well. Both centre backs are really strong. Cannavaro and Udese are probably good, but Fifey could also do with a centre back that doesn't get 900 yellows per season. So that's maybe part of the attraction. I don't know if they're so. Cannavaro got a bunch of yellow, not a bunch, but he did pick up a few yellows I think last season. Well, only 4. It wasn't too bad actually. Oh well. Anyway, predictions. Anyone? Alf says 2-2. I don't know how you see this one. We could maybe have a look at the. I keep forgetting I can do this. I do apologize. Churchtown had the better of Panathinaikos in last season, and also in the what do you call it, the minor semi-final. So it would be a first point for Panathinaikos if they were gonna get that tonight. Do you see Parma getting a point here?
I've just got a feeling Churchtown are going to win this. I don't know why. If Palmer can score early, they might. I just think it's going to be a home win for some reason. I've no idea why. I think it's just going to be a home win.
Ryan says 3-1 away win. Alf says 2-2 draw. It'd be interesting to see. That's obviously 3 different results, so we'll see how it goes. But we'll kick nonsense, Ryan. 2-0 Churchtown, says Ian Edwards. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm going to kick it off, and then we'll see how it goes. There's obviously goals in both sides, and they do have a relatively decent defensive performances behind them, apart from maybe Churchtown's last game. But let's see. Early chances for both sides. Trezeguet's name has propped up a couple of times already. Maybe not the most popular player or highest rated, but Chris seems to want to stick with him, so that's obviously, that's his decision. And there's Ambrosini.
Like Ambrosini.
Ambrosini from central midfield with the early goal for Panathinaikos. Very impressive start.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, and they hold on to half time. I mean, hold on is maybe the wrong word. It doesn't look as if Churchtown have even created any chance. I mean, I thought they'd had chances, but maybe they weren't chances at all. Not a single key pass from any of the guys. Maybe going wide wasn't the option tonight. But yeah, well, Mike Duff 6 on his debut, probably 9 completed passes out of 21. That's not what you want to see, is it?
No, I've never been a fan of Olise, but I know he's been a pretty shot hot so far, but I'm not really never been a big fan. I know he can score and stuff, but he's not really one for me. Mike Duff, I know he's a legend in that. I don't know if he's super consistent Super League quality. Pretty mediocre. I think Churchton will come back in the second half, but it's a bit disappointing, Kieran, to be honest with you.
Yeah, carrying on the kind of disappointing performance from especially the second half of the Ardsley game. In contrast, if we have Panathinaikos, I mean they're building from the back. I think we can agree on there. They've got the Udese Cannavaro on 8 and 9, Pauve and Butt on 7 and 8 as well, and then the rest are kind of like averages. But an assist from Riquelme, did that surprise you that he's been able to get a tune out of Riquelme, who struggled so much at Ardsley last season?
He's a quality player, isn't he? But if Palmer can get a win in this game, then I think folk will have to start taking him seriously, because he's had a fantastic start. He really has. And Churchton, everybody fancied him. A few folk fancied him for the title. So if Panathinaikos can get in for this, it'll be someone.
Yeah, and solid second place for them, I think, if they do get the 3 points here. But let's kick off the second half and see how it goes. I still can't believe that, but that's not a good sign at home. But that's how it was in the first half for Churchtown. Doesn't look as if.
No, Palmer's.
That's Trezeguet. That's Trezeguet with his first goal of the season. Not a lot of change for Churchtown in the second half. Oh, there's Olise Debi, just as we said that. But Trezeguet fires straight back, 3-1 for Panathinaikos now. I mean, he's kind of beaten Kieran at his own game with all those attacking players. I mean, he's only got 4 at the back. Oh, and Olise Debi has one disallowed. I mean, 93rd minute, it probably wasn't gonna have impacted the outcome of the game anyway. But yeah, Trezeguet and Olise Debi, 2 players that we weren't too sure about in the in the warm up. Commentators' curse strikes again. They obviously had a couple of good games. Surprising to see Churchtown conceding so many goals as well. They hardly conceded any last season, but this season it's been a different story.
I don't know if he seems to be chopping in. I know he chopped and changed formations. We tended to chuck in the odd mad formation, but it doesn't seem to be clearly having the same effect as last season. That's 2 defeats on the spin now. I think he's going to be slightly concerned, because Panathinaikos, with all due respect, weren't one of the fancied teams. They're a good side, clearly, but you've got to be looking to pick up points in your home games, and that's. Panathinaikos are going to be round about them, I would imagine, in the league. So I think Kieran's going to be a bit worried now.
Yeah, especially with results, as you mentioned there. The teams are going to be round about you in the league. What you're gonna get against them, that's obviously going to have a big impact on your season. Let's have a look at the Churchtown player stats. So I mean, it's rare to see Edgar Davids picking up a 6. Mike Duff not impressing anyone on his debut either. Henrik Larsson not really doing the job either. We've obviously still got Romeo. He's got Van Nistelrooy. He's got the new boy Everton. He's got plenty of striking options that we might see in the near future. But for me, the main concern is Barry Ferguson and his return in terms of what he's produced with goals and assists. Because if we look at him last season, he had 24 games, 9 goals and 17 assists, and the period where Kieran struggled, which was kind of early midish of the season, was when Barry Ferguson had like a few games out with injury, and now he's not out with injury, he's just not putting in the performances, and then the rest of the team are kind of struggling around that. So I would perhaps be a little bit worried about him. Do you think Barry Ferguson will come good, or does he have anyone else who you would expect to step up, such as Robin or someone like that?
Ferguson will definitely come good. I mean, the only thing I'd be slightly concerned about is, like, if he lost that game and Can got a 5 or something, it'd be like, his keeper got an 8. So I'd be looking at Mike Duff, as I said. I know he's normally solid and reliable, but I don't know if he's Super League quality. When you look at the strikers he's up against in that, like, week in, week out. Soren Chinsky's normally better than that. Soren Chinsky an 8. Sorry, that's. Soren Chinsky's, so I like him. Robin. Again, Larsson, I know he's quality. That's maybe just personal preference, but I think Kieran maybe needs to look at going back to these narrower sort of formations. That's what I'd be looking at anyway.
And if you look at Panathinaikos, so yeah, I mean, Parma will be happy that the legacy of kind of alternative-ish formations and getting the most out of the squad is carrying on. Great return for Trezeguet, 5 shots, 4 on target, 2 goals, assists coming from Nedved, Riquelme, and Ambrosini, the 3 people behind, all delivering assists. Ambrosini even chipping in with a goal, somehow getting an assist and a goal and only getting a 7. But I suppose he didn't do that much in terms of passing. But if you see where he plays the game, yeah, you can see Salihamidzic has got 40 passes, Nedved 30, Riquelme 48, Trezeguet 29. They've got more passes than a bunch of the more defensive players, which is where you want to be, isn't it? You want to play your football in the opponent's half rather than like trying to kick it out of your own area. So solid performance. Anything that stands out for you in that? I mean, Trezeguet is a surprise, I think.
Yeah, well, again, me saying Trez, I didn't fancy Trezeguet before the game, but 5 shots, 4 on target. That's, if you can get him going, he's going to be an asset. But Udeze and Cannavaro, for me, the two of them, that's a great defensive pair, and that's a great win. That's a really good win. Delighted with that.
Yeah.
Cross, sorry.
Chris alluding to the reason that he brought Ambrosini in was to specifically to put him up against Barry Ferguson and get a stronger guy up against him, because I think he played Riquelme there maybe last week or in the previous games, and he would probably be a little bit too slow and not really have the tackling and the positioning to control Barry Ferguson. Let's see how Ambrosini, he's better tackling, better positioning. Yeah, so I think that was his logic for that. But yeah, strong win for Panathinaikos, 3-1, and that's obviously gonna help them in the league. I think they'll be up to second probably in the live table. Up next, we don't have Chudley Cannons against Midlothian because we save the best till last. So the hosts, the co-commentators get to play last. We've got the Aster Celtic against BTEC, which should be a cracker. I've forgotten to bring up the last time the two sides met for all of the other ones. I can bring up this one because it was is it? Oh, it's not here, is it? Let's see. I suck at the game. I do apologize. The last the last time Arsenal played BTEC at home was the famous 4-2 victory where Arsenal were down to 9 men after half an hour and still managed to to beat BTEC 4-2. But if you look at that BTEC side,
I was going to say that it's a much changed BTEC now, isn't it? It's a different beast.
Is there any? How many of Abbiati is not in goal? So that's Abbiati out. Danielson is out. Said is out. Kalusny is out. Insagi's out. Vogel is out. Cole is out. And Stam is out as well, isn't he? So he's got 3. He's got Contra, Dyer, and Palermo. Those are the 3 that are left from that BTEC side. So it's obviously much changed. And Said, as Ryan points out, is playing for the opposition tonight. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get anything that resembles a repeat of that one or how it goes. But let's have a look at the Ardsley tactic. So this is Hodge's new formation, and he's sticking to it. What do you make of it? It's a little bit defensive and a little bit attacking at the same time.
We'll score more than you. I think that's what it is. It's the big gap in the middle of the park, but when he's got Vieira inside there, you maybe didn't need a central midfielder, and when you've got that 3 up front, he is going to score goals with a Coburn behind. So everybody knows it's a great squad. I don't know about the keeper, maybe no top tier in my opinion. But Kufre as well, I'm not a big fan of him. John Terry I really like. It's a great squad. He's going to score, and he's started the season brilliantly, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a decent start for him. Definitely in terms of getting the goals. Someone else who started the season quite well is Ian and the BTEC Troopers. He's assembled a strong squad. I mean, I know it's come at a cost. Obviously, he has been Mr. Big Spender, Wolf of Wall Street, throwing about the cash. But he's assembled a pretty good side, hasn't he?
Ian's done the best business out of any manager, certainly since I've been involved in the league. He's just quietly went about. Well, not so quietly, but he's went about his business, spent big, but you look at the players who's got there. That is that to me looks like a title-winning team. The only if you were being a bit picky, you would say up front, but if you can get Palermo scoring, I'm a huge fan of Palermo. I was
Same.
nearly signing him up. And Pizarro, I mean, that's a great squad.
Yeah, definitely. Edilson, I maybe had a couple of question marks over, but he actually
Mm.
did pretty. I mean, he seven games, 4 goals and 2 assists, and a man of the
Decent.
match when he came in is probably not the worst, is it? Yeah. Um, Comments, guys. Predictions for this one. Is it going to be a 4-2 repeat? What do you think, Ian? What do you think?
I think BTEC are going to win this. I don't know. Ardsley are certainly going to score, but I just fancy BTEC for some strange reason. I am going to go BTEC 3-2.
2-2 says Ryan. Don't know if there's anyone else who's offering their opinion, but either way, I think there's going to be goals in this one for sure. I think there's been no shortage of goals so far for in the Ardsley game, so I'll be surprised if we don't see a few. Alf says 5-4 Ardsley. Scott says 3-1 home win. Yeah, it's going to be hopefully it's going to be exciting, and hopefully there's going to be a ton of goals in it. So let's kick this one off and see how we get on. Early chance for Tomadera there. I see Roberto kicking the ball away in anger. You never like to see that because that could so easily be followed with a red, couldn't it? If he'd done something else.
Seems to be Ardsley here, doesn't it? Aye.
Morientes with the early goal there too. They're difficult to keep down with those. And there's Tomadera.
His front three are fire, aren't they?
I'll be interested to see how Recopa does in that AMC role because he's without Nikiforenko, so he was like, oh, I'll put Recopa there because he came in and scored 2 in that game when he got subbed on.
I forgot he wasn't even playing.
Yeah. He's come in for Nikiforenko in the AMC position. It was all Ardsley the first 40 minutes. BTEC coming in a little bit just before half time, but that's it. That's oh my god, that's a lot of chances for both sides in the first half. So decent keeper performances, I think.
It's we thought there'd be goals. It just seemed like Ardsley blew them away early on, didn't it? It was just with that front three, it's going to be hard to contain them.
Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at how they're playing up front. First of all, Candela and Sauri are doing a brilliant job on the wings. Kufre is maybe, but he's only in because the other chap is who is it? Christian Chibu he's got in there that he actually got from BTEC is out injured, so Kufre is only playing, I think, for that. John Terry, obviously, I mean, whatever you think of John Terry in real life, he's obviously doing a fairly good job for Ardsley. And then he's got that front line. I mean, Recopa's not really doing anything, but the other guys are definitely chipping in. Tomadera especially, I mean, 5 shots, 4 on target. Morientes getting one as well. It's working well for him, isn't it?
Is Vieri plugging away, getting an 8 in the mid, and he's kind of flattered to deceive for me anyway, Vieira so far. But he's going to be key if they are going to challenge, because he's certainly got the squad. The keeper, who I said I didn't fancy, getting an 8 as well, but he's got a great team, hasn't
he? Yeah, Patrick Vieira, I think. Fucking hell! Look at that. You know, Boise likes a strong right hand column. So why he's not married to Patrick Vieira, I don't know. Because it doesn't get much better. Doesn't get much better than that.
Nearly as good as Neil Scally's right hand column.
I was gonna say it's not far off it, not far off it. And decent average. Last season, perhaps no man of the match awards. Not really much in terms of goals and assists. Just kind of quietly going about his business. Perhaps a little bit too quiet. But if he's doing that leadership role and getting that 825 average this season, then that's going to help Ardsley tremendously, especially with the attacking formation that they have. Let's have a look at the BTEC. Not so good. Not so good a story from them. Milevski not really doing the business. Palermo and Pizarro could also be doing a hell of a lot better. Plenty of key passes from everyone. It just seems that Landro is having a good game and they've had a bit of trouble converting them. You mentioned if they can get Palermo firing, but not really today, huh?
No, I know Ian was looking to keep the same tactic and get a bit consistency and stuff, but I don't know if he's going to be up against the bigger teams. Does he maybe have to look at going with an away tactic or a home tactic? I don't know. He's obviously not going to change a winning formula because he's obviously been doing well, but it's maybe something he's going to have to look at.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I think Arsenal will be a tricky side to face this
For
season
sure.
with that
Sure.
kind of like no compromise tactic. Yeah, 6 defenders, 4 strikers, and then we'll just see. Yeah, you can have the midfield, do with it whatever you want, and you can see Dyer, Emerson, Edilson, Roberto, Contra. They're not really doing much with all that space they've been afforded. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out in the second half. If Arsenal can keep up the pressure, or if BTEC can convert some of their chances. Again, early goal for BTEC, otherwise it's probably curtains, isn't it?
Sure, definitely. I was just going to say that an early goal was probably the only chance BTEC's got because Arley, they looked solid, didn't they?
And possible for another Ardsley goal, you would think also, unless BTEC can kind of turn the tide a little bit. But let's see. Well,
Oh, what's side?
yeah, early
You
goal,
know,
but in the other direction.
Ian will be happy it's side that's on the score sheet.
That's always a chance. I mean, you know that yourself from playing the game. That's also always pretty much guaranteed. You sell someone, and then you play against them, and then that's kind of how it goes. And Martin Palermo, who we said wouldn't get a goal, there's Emerson finished.
I wonder what his fitness is.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'll probably just put. He needs goals, doesn't he? We'll put Mr. Creative on here instead. Where is he? There we go. It's only the last 5 minutes. Oh yeah, let's check his fitness. No, 38 is probably not too bad. I'd worry if it's like 10 or less. Yeah, well, they walked it home anyway, Arsenal for the rest of it. I mean, BTEC came into it, I think, a little bit in the second half, but just couldn't get shots on target. I mean, that's quite a. I mean, Arsenal not particularly good at it either, but that's a low. Like half of the shots completely missing the target. Contra doing well. Ferdinand actually doing okay. Nesta kind of okay. I mean, I think we've seen this before on occasion from BTEC. It's not a bad performance. Buffon having probably his worst game of his BTEC career so far, but it's not a bad performance from the team. Plenty of sevens, 13 tackles for Emerson, or attempted tackles anyway. Nesta with a bunch of tackles, yeah. Kind of solid performance, but just not converting, I guess.
Isn't it? It didn't appear to play too bad. He had chances. You maybe put down an off day to Buffon, but maybe if you had that, maybe a killer top tier striker, but I don't think there was any other. Once Ardley's pulled away, I couldn't really see them coming back, to be honest.
Perhaps. No, go on. Sorry.
I don't think he's clearly not got too much to worry about, but I think Ardley are marching on.
Yeah. It's good start for them. Perhaps a little bit concerning the amount of shots coming from players that have no business shooting on. I mean, I don't know what people do with their instructions, but if I saw Cosmin Contra and say Roberto having 2 shots each in a game, I'd be telling them to stay the fuck away from that in the next game, to be honest. But that's personal preference. I don't really like. I mean, I don't mind my wide players and everyone else getting the odd goal, obviously, but preferably only from one shot on target and a complete fluke or a header after a corner or something like that. I don't like to see finishing from far out. But yeah, personal preference. I just think it's a bit of a wasted opportunity. And you can see the distribution of chances. If you look at it here, distributions of shots on target. That's the 2 wing backs. That's a central midfielder. That's an attacking midfielder. Between them, they have more shots on target than the 2 strikers, more attempts than the 2 strikers. If you look at Arsenal's lineup here, fair enough, they play with 3 strikers, but they have 11 out of their 13 shots. And the last one comes from Patrick Vieira in central midfield, and one from Candela. This is the ones I would say that I don't really mind, you know what I mean? But the rest, from Said and Vieira, and one was a penalty. And this one, I don't really mind that, but I want my shots to come from the players that are actually decent at scoring. But my personal preference.
I totally agree. He's clearly getting the ball into the right areas, isn't he? I think Vieira getting man of the match. But that's a big win for us like that, because BTEC were, no matter, that's probably our toughest test yet. I would say that's a great win. Would
Yeah,
you
yeah,
agree?
and like proven, like a proof of concept. Yeah, it is working. I mean, Alvaro Recoba was never going to be a particularly good AMC, to be honest. So that's just what it is. So he'll have to rethink that for next match. But I think he's got a couple of options as well. In terms of that, I think he's got a young, is that Boskovic or something like that? I think he should have played in there, but that was just my personal preference. But anyway, he's not going to be complaining now because he completely dominated that game, and obviously a solid 3-1 victory with everyone playing brilliantly apart from Recoba, who I didn't expect much of in that position, to be completely honest. He did well in his when he came in, but
He can handle Recoba playing a six. He can handle like Morientes, Madeira, and Tristan carrying Recoba if he's going to win every week. You know what I mean? He think he's going to be too bothered with that one.
Ian picking it up. Dominated with a question mark. Well, performance wise, look at all these sevens and look at all these eights. I know stats, but you know what I mean. If you've got your wing backs, shooting from halfway line, Ian, that counts as a shot as well, doesn't it? But it's not
You just
Morientes' shot.
Sorry, I know you look at the stats and that, but I didn't get the feeling that BTEC were going to come back in it when Sardsley was. You know what I mean? I just didn't get the feeling.
And too many offsides. Again, I'm not sure how you can stop that or counter that or whatever. I've had a look at forward runs instructions or whatever, but sometimes you run offside a lot and sometimes you don't, and that's just how it is. So that's obviously having an impact as well. But yeah, good result for Arsley, definitely. And that brings us to the main event of the evening. Chudley Cannons at home to the Midlothian Football Club. Let's have a look at how the teams line up. So, first of all, let's have a look at Chudley Cannon's formation. You mentioned earlier that you kind of like the look of this.
I did. I'm sure if I went, this is my only thing. If I'd went like this at home, you'd probably get criticised for going one up top. But I quite like it because he's got hammered in his last game against. I know it was against Vallen. With a narrow formation, so he's looked to change it up. I quite like it, to be honest with you. I'm a wee bit more worried than what I previously would have been, but it's a strong side. Buma is one of my favourites. Kerr, we all know about him. Gallardo, maybe a bit iffy. Van Bommel, Mendes de Silva, Liverani. It's a strong squad he's got. I don't know the keeper, I have to confess. Rossini up front as well. But he's got a strong squad.
Yeah, and I hope that the people listening at home enjoyed the correct pronunciation of the central midfielder from Falkirk. who everyone else will no doubt be calling Mark Kerr, but clearly that's a misunderstanding. But anyway, what do you make of the goalkeeper, Andre? I mean,
I've never heard him. Never came across him before.
5 million from Cruzeiro.
I don't think I've ever seen him. He looks decent, plenty of handling. He looks right, doesn't he?
He was just fed up with what he had. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs in this match. With regards to yourself, not many changes. In fact, I think it was just on the bench, wasn't it? Van der Vaart for Ariel Ortega. But you had a good game last time, didn't you? 2-0 victory, fairly easy, settled.
We did. I was at pains to change it for the 5 because I'm maybe just getting a bit too clever. The 5 did work in a couple of away games, but I've folks saying it's the assistant that's influenced stuff. If you look at this formation, we played this probably for the vast majority of last season, so I've kind of just reverted to this. A shout out to Rocks, by the way, my assistant manager. Hope he's tuned in. We've just went back to this. It's working so far, so we've got to roll with it pretty much.
Alex, swapping Alex for Kuhl.
Personally, I prefer Alex more central. I think Kuhl's maybe better. I would use Kuhl maybe more out wide, and I know he's quality, but I just prefer Alex in central midfield. I don't know if it was. There's a version of the game that Alex is at Fenerbahce, and I don't know what version of the game it is, but I played it when I was younger, and I used to sign him every single. It must be a later version, clearly. But I like Alex. That's what can I say, and I like him centrally. He's good. Kuhl's maybe marginally better, but I prefer Alex in a more central midfield role.
Yeah, and it's also what you prefer. I mean, that also makes sense. I think we can get a little bit too focused on just winning games. I'm not saying that we have to role play the whole thing, but I do like the fact that people are signing players that they like. That especially that's one of the things I liked about Palmer last season, that he would always pick like players that maybe weren't the biggest stars, but that was kind of his unique selling point. That was kind of what he did. So I do like that when people go and pick up players that they do like. And I think Gattuso and Gerrard probably been two of your best players so far this season. They've done Gattuso's done a spectacular job and at that DMC role, and Gerrard's done well as well in midfield. Um, you're strong in the DMC position as well. Goalkeeper wise, though, we've got Shea Given in goal tonight instead of Hetman. He had like those two terrible games, the 5 and the 4. It's Are we going to see Shea Given long term in the Midlothian goal? Do you think?
I don't think it is. We're definitely looking to address it. Vulgaris, in a home save, Vulgaris is all right because you can chuck him in and he'll be shite for like a season and he becomes half decent. But the now, I don't know. I think his stats are pretty rubbish, But Hedman kind of threw the playoffs for us last season, given I didn't rate. So I didn't particularly rate any of our goalkeepers. So I think we'll be seeing a new keeper in
At
the
some point.
next window. So
Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of like that MC role, isn't it? There's we'd like to have 14 of them, but is there 14 decent, like sort of world-class keepers? I mean, Bartes obviously threw a complete fit and got kicked back to Europe for Aster, but we'll see if he could make a return in the future. Let's hear the predictions for this one. I'm gonna presume away win from you, Ian. I'll see if anyone in the comments wants to chip in. 2-2 says Ian down in Barrow. Ryan goes for 3-0 away win, so you've got a bit of support there from Bolton. And tick tock. Hodgie says 1-1. Yeah.
I said 2-1 in the blog, so I'll stick with that. I would take a draw. I'll stick with 2-1 to us, but I would take a draw. Truth be known, it's away from home. I'd be happy with that draw.
Let's have a look and see. We'll kick it off and see what Scott and Chudley can come up with a new formation, or if you are going to be victorious with your not normal away formation here and back in the boys. A lot of love for the away win. Some more people coming in now. Chris Mack says 2-0 away. Alf Bridge says 3-1 away win. So let's see.
Fucking hell.
Boomer, you pointed him out. He was one of your favorite players. You mentioned it yourself in the pre-match kind of chat. Oof.
It's not looking good, is it?
That's not looking good at all, is it? Let's see. I mean, you played at DMC there, so I'd probably put Addo in there just because he's a defensive midfielder like Steven Gerrard. That's my.
I would have wait for Van der Vaar, but that's.
Well, there's a like for like substitution, so but we'll see.
Addo was my central defender, and Van der Vaar was aye. Addo was a defender.
Let's go. Actually, I would have never have started Steven Gerrard in the central midfield. No, you're right. I thought he was I thought he was actually attacking midfielder, but that's the other. What's his name? Robin, the other guy. No, you're right. A midfielder is for a midfielder. That's a reasonable, and you are behind, so that's a reasonable substitution as well. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Let's see.
No preferential treatment for the Cocons.
No, not at all. Clearly not.
I want to fuck, man.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
That's Mark Kerr with probably his first of the season. Oh no, maybe his second. Oh god, he's been terrible, but he's choosing tonight to turn up. Strong. Ian says in the comments, looking forward to Eric Addo's reaction to that one. It'll be like that goalkeeper when was it Holland who subbed the goalkeeper for the penalty, Sillison or whatever. Yeah, not the best first half from Midlothian. Emil and Penza only getting a 5. Slightly.
I didn't really care what to say. It's not been great, has it?
Slightly concerning, and 25 fitness for Steven Gerrard. That's not particularly promising as well.
Mm.
Let's see if you can stage a comeback in the second half. David Mendes da Silva, the only player scoring. Oh no, Gallardo getting a 6 as well. Baumer getting an 8. I think he's probably their best player by some distance. Chudley Cannons.
It's been impressive from Chudley. I'm impressed. I did say I liked the formation. It's
Yeah,
been its performance.
and he's had a couple of goes at it to find a formation that worked, because he'd obviously conceded quite a few recently, and had a few sort of like not so great results, but it seems as if he's maybe on to something here. We'll kick off the second half and see if Midlothian can find a way back in.
No, I don't think so.
It does look as if
We're going to score again.
Gonna have to come up with something soon.
No chance.
But it looks as if that kind of block of like 10 players that he's parked in front in his own half is working out quite well for him. Stays 2-0. I'm sorry, commentators curse strike again. It's great to have people on, but they do normally have pretty shitty results when they are on. So apologies for that.
I was kind of expecting it. Well done, Scott. That's a good one, mate.
If we have a look.
There's not really much to say, is it? It's pretty poor. Van der Vaart getting a 7's about my only positive, to be honest with you. An 8 for Duljaz, who's been probably my unsung hero. The rest are getting fined a week's wages, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's close enough to an 8. I mean, he did pretty okay last season. Not anything wild, but kind of okay. But this season, I mean, 767 with an 8 tonight. He's getting close to an 8 average, which is for a DMC is fair enough, isn't it? Or he's not even a DMC. He's just playing there.
That's it. Either footed, right hand. Right, I like him. He's solid. You kind of know what you're going to get. The rest, given,
I'll swap away. I'll spare you the sight of it, and you can have a look at Chudley. I mean, it's a defensive block, isn't it? With all those people at the back, but it's difficult to break down. I was kind of worried that he wouldn't be able to create any chances from it, because if you see like Hodgie, he's got like a bunch of people at the back as well, but he's got 4 up top, so he's kind of leaving the midfield a little bit open. I was kind of a little bit worried that Chudley would just leave Rossini completely on his own, and nothing would happen there, but it seems to have worked out for him.
As he's got the arrows with the midfielders, hasn't he? So he's like attacking in a wave. So that's obviously worked. He's got the 2, and then he's just dug in, and basically he's totally deserved that. Like I couldn't see us scoring at all. He totally outplayed us, to be honest with you. Boomer getting Boomer getting a 9. I hate Hippie. I know he's decent. I just didn't like him. I think it's probably just because of real life, but that's Andre getting a
That's fair enough. And no assists, so the goals coming from goals from nowhere.
I think Gibbons getting fucking. I think Vulgaris is the next game. Well deserved, though. Well deserved by Scott, by the way. Well
someone said Ryan says Vulgaris is the best of the 3 apparently, but then Ryan said that Chudley's tactics was shit anyway. So I'm not sure how much you want to put into that. So yeah, Gavin did well to parry, but rebound fell to Mark Kerr, so definitely one of them was for him. But so commiserations on that one, and obviously well done to Scott for picking up some points. He's had a bit of a tough time taking over at Chudley. Let's have a look at the competition, how things stack up. We have got Vallen United out in front, closely followed by Panathinaikos and Ardsley. A little bit surprising, perhaps, to see Ardsley up there with 12 goals conceded in 5 games, but they're getting the wins. Bolton, Phoenix, Churchtown, then Hooligans, and then we've got a BTEC just below the line after the defeat tonight. We have got Aster, we've got yourselves, Chudley, all with 2 wins from the first 5, and then Hornets, Swindon, and unfortunately for them, both Dragons and Sloths for various reasons rooted to the bottom of the table. Anything that stands out to you with regards to the table? I mean, I don't want to say that I didn't expect Hodgie to do well because he has got a good squad and he did win the Vieira lottery. So he was
I
taking a
was
little bit of a piss last season with his performance, but I'm a little bit surprised to see him up there in third.
I was just about to praise Hodgie till I seen his comment, so I was going to praise him, but I'll still praise him. He's done okay, but the performer of the league so far for me is Panathinaikos. He's had a great start, hasn't he? Vallen just going to be quietly about his business at the top.
The comment was at Ryan, by the way. Ryan says, "Well done." Oh, sorry, he says,
Ryan,
"Well done, Scott. I was wrong about the
apologise.
formation." And Chris says,
I
"You
thought
you talk a lot."
sorry, Roger. You're amazing. Nah, BTEC for the. I know it's tight, but you look at. I thought BTEC were in the top 6, to be honest with you, and we have been poor to mediocre, and we're only 2 points behind them. It's I know it's tight, but
Yeah, it's going to be one of them. I think again, it's going to be one of them again. The mid-table, I think it looks. I mean, it could be maybe be. I could be wrong, but I think maybe it'll be similar to last season. There'll be a couple of teams who'll sit out in front, and then there'll be kind of a chasing pack who'll be chopping and changing through the season. And if anyone can find form like you did last season, when it matters, then that's going to be the one or two teams that are gonna maybe three that are gonna squeeze in at the end. But yeah, let's just have a quick look before we go at the average rating. So that's Shevchenko, it's Vogel, and it's Cannavaro, Candela. There's a couple of guys. I mean, we saw that at the beginning of last season as well. The early teams that dominate are the ones that fill these lists as well. With regards to goals, I think we've got Andrei Shevchenko as the top of the table. Tomadera, a couple of guys just behind him. Brosek still there, and Kennedy. Kennedy in there.
I'm not one Midlothian player in the top.
In the top, well, I mean, Pensa's got 2 goals. You have got 1 and 2, so but yeah, you're gonna need a couple more goals. Tomadera with 3 assists, that's perhaps a little bit surprising. And then we've got this thing that I'd like to see is see if there's anyone who scored from direct free kicks. So Panathinaikos got a good free kick taker in there somewhere. Indirect free kicks is Churchtown and Chudley. That's maybe Bowyer popping up there. And from corners is Vallen. I don't think they had many of them last season, but anyway. That kind of concludes the action for tonight. So commiserations on the result, Ian. That's what it's like when you come on to CoCom, so now you know. But thank you very much for your contribution. It was much appreciated.
Thank you, mate. It's a pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me on.
Always welcome, and thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It was another evening of great action, lots of goals, a couple of exciting last-minute finishes, and of course we do it again next Sunday. So take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. The few minutes that are left of them.
I think Ryan's asking for the fixtures before we go, and Hodgie, if that's all right.
Oh gosh, yeah. We've always got to be. I'm old. It's past my bedtime. Right, I'll post the fixture. Here's the fixtures. If anyone wants to have a look, I'll do a quick screenshot and throw it up there tomorrow morning. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. As always, stay safe. Well done to the guys who've done all the charity stuff. Yeah, and keep in touch. Keep up the good mood. Keep up the good spirits. Apparently, we're not going to do anything until what was it, the beginning of June. So, yeah.
Our southern friends are. We're no.
Oh, they're getting let out. All right, okay. Yeah, well, they are less responsible, I guess, so why not? Anyway, take care, guys, and I'll catch you all very soon. And good night, Ian. Thank you very much for joining.
Cheers, man. Cheers, lads.
Thanks.
Bye.